Hello, everyone, and welcome to Point of Purchase by GeekSpeak Commerce. On this show, we sit down with experts across the e-commerce ecosystem to talk all things retail, technology, business strategy, and more, and to unpack what's working, what's changing, and what's ahead. I'm Trisha Williams. I'm the managing partner at GeekSpeak Commerce and your host for today. So today's show is all about both sides of the shelf, how brands and retailers can better understand each other. This is our 33rd episode of Point of Purchase, and I'm so excited to have Marlene Hinz with us today, someone who's been on my wish list for quite a while now. Now, I do want to share in this opportunity to chat with Marlene, so if you have any questions for her or myself, please drop them in the comments section wherever you're watching from, and we'll try to get to them before the end of the show. Now, Marlene has spent more than 25 years in marketing, leading teams across major Canadian retailers, including Proxim, Renault Depot, Rona, and most recently, BMR. She also spent several years at Lassonde as Vice President of Marketing and Innovation, overseeing both traditional and digital marketing for well-known consumer brands like Oasis, Allen's, Rougemont, and so many more. She's known as a strong collaborative leader, and she continues to give back to the industry. Marlene is the current president of the Quebec Marketing Association and sits on the boards of the Quebec Sports Hall of Fame and the City Theatre. So today we'll talk about how her career has evolved through industry change, what she's learned working on both retail and brand sides, and where she believes marketing leaders should focus as we move toward 2026. So with that, I would like to welcome in Marlene.
Hey, Trisha.
Hi, Marlene. How are you?
I'm great. And with that intro, hard to not be woo.
Listen, I'm just glad that you agreed to join us. So thank you again for making it happen.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I know I shared a lot to start off, but give us a little bit more. Can you share a bit more about your career path?
Yes, of course, Trisha. And as you just said, almost all my career, I was on the retail side. I started first for a retail chain pharmacy called Essin at that time, that became Proxim. And actually, I work on the new brand name, and it's still the one at the moment. So that's a good thing.
Nice.
After that, I joined Rona. First, I was marketing manager for Renault Depot. After that, I became the marketing director for Renault Depot. And after 4 years on the Renault Depot side, I was nominated on the Rona side for the brand as a brand director. So brand advertising and sponsorship. After that, I became a senior director for brand advertising and sponsorship. And finally, a senior director of marketing strategy. And that's where actually I started working on the supplier program. Actually, I built the program that we call now retail media. So we will see later on the show. And after the acquisition by Lowe's Canada, I don't know if you recall that Rona
Yes.
was who doesn't? I became vice president of marketing, central marketing services, to work with my team on all banners, including Lowe's at that time, in terms of activation and production. Okay, so that was it. And then I passed 18 months on the agency side, and right after I started as VP of Marketing and Innovation for Lassonde, as you just said, and like you said as well, there is many brands, so Oasis, Allen's, Sunripe as well. And after 4 years, I was back on the retail business at BMR as VP Marketing and Communication. That was my last active role, actually, until end of October.
Mm-hmm. Wow, a few stops along the way that I didn't know about. So thank you for that. And I had no idea that you built the retail media program.
Yes.
So we'll dig into that more.
Yes, of course.
So you mentioned that you were on the retailer side and on the brand side. So I'm curious, what influenced that move?
Actually, the reason to move on the brand side was really the challenge. Okay. But first, I need to say I began at Lassonde March 9, 2020. I don't know if it rings a bell. It was 4 days before the pandemic and the full shutdown, as you know. And during the pandemic, a lot of challenge in terms of supply of various fruits. Usually, the VP of procurement was telling me, "Hey, Marlène, usually we only miss maybe lack of one fruit or mango, let's say, but during the pandemic, it was incredible." 3, 4 different fruits, and
Right.
a funny thing, it was not that funny at that time, but we in 2023 our campaign was for Oasis was on the team pulp or team no pulp, and the VP of procurement told me, "Marlène, we're gonna miss some pulp." I said, "No, you're kidding me." So we had to move our campaign to spring, and it was supposed to start in January. But the real challenge that I had, and that was kind of, oh, I need really to go on the CPG brand side, was that my first mandate was really to optimize our brand portfolio with the team. So we passed from brands and sub-brands to 16 brands and sub-brands. So a lot of work, but with insights, with study and all, to make sure that we were doing the right things. So that was really the reason why I passed on the brand side.
Wow. So, in full transparency, obviously, I've worked with you and your team, especially at Lassonde
Yeah.
over the years, but I actually didn't realize that you were started basically in full crisis mode there, just managing the pandemic and how you were going to respond to it. So, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
and since I had innovation in my title and with the team,
Mhm.
there was so much recipe that we need to redo and all because of all those lack of supply in terms of fruit. So that was quite a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do remember the pulp, no pulp issue, not realizing that he actually got pulp, orange pulp,
Yeah.
from a different source. So that was interesting to learn as well. So, digging in a little bit deeper on the brand versus retailer side, what do you think feels, the most different between the two from your perspective?
From my perspective, the big difference is really that, on the CPG side, usually you don't have a store to sell your products. Okay. So it's so important to add good visibility on the retail, different platforms on the
Hmm.
retail side. And when you do campaigns, well, or even content on social media, well, the consumers cannot buy your product at because they need to go to a retail store. So that's really on the CPG brand. And on the retail side, you still have to promote your brand to drive traffic into the store, because in retail, the marketing main KPI is really traffic into the store. Okay, so that's our main KPI that we are looking for. So is that, but also you have to have the right products that the consumers are looking for, and because there is always some trend, that you need to follow, because you're gonna miss sales.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the brand side, your customers are really the retailers, right? So it's really
Yeah,
forging
yeah, yeah.
relationships with those retailers.
It's so important. You're right.
What about, what are the things that you think brand and retailer side have in common that people don't usually notice?
That's really a hard question, Tricia. uh, I would say that I don't know if is it that on retail and CPG brand, you have to make sure that your notoriety is really high to make sure that you get traffic and sales. But I don't know if people really are familiar or they are really notice it. That's really the thing that I'm not quite sure. So that's a hard one.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, as a retailer, you're trying to get traffic into the store or on the site, and at the same time, from the brand perspective, you really have to drive traffic to that digital shelf or in store, wherever the product is being sold. So it is a challenging one to drill down
Yeah.
to, for sure.
But it's really important for both to really have a high notoriety to make sure that in terms of awareness and all, and
Mhm.
PS, even in PS, to make sure that, okay, yeah, my brand is in LT spot, let's say. So, and I don't think that all the marketers are always taking care of that part of, those topics.
Absolutely, good call out.
Mhm.
So, if you were to look back on your career, which industry shift do you adapt or rethink things the most?
Do I need to go back when I get out of university, or no? No, I'm just kidding.
As far as you want to go.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I will say the consumer path and media habits, because when in the past, offline advertising was the key. Okay, in terms of radio, out of home, TV, you were good. But now you really need to have a 360 approach, considering online, of course, and still offline. And in different market, though, there is like TV shows. Of course, in Quebec, it's more important compared to elsewhere in Canada because of the US chain and all that. But even so, you want to make sure you reach your consumers. So that's the reason why you really need to have the 360. And that shift changed totally the strategy and activation that we used to do in the past compared to let's say 10 or to 15 years, I would say.
Hmm. Absolutely. You know, as you said, radio. I hadn't heard anyone mention radio in quite a while. So
But
much
it's
has
still,
changed.
yeah, it depending of the business that you
Yeah,
are, there is still good spot, radio spot that could help you to drive traffic.
absolutely. You're right. But even television now, I mean, with all this different streaming platforms and so forth, so much has changed. A lot of folks don't even have cable anymore or watch,
Yeah,
TV the traditional way. So it's a lot of these different streaming platforms. So you're absolutely right. We have to meet consumers wherever they are.
exactly. And there is some opportunity on streaming or YouTube, or that you can put your video or TV ad, or so that's kind of the way that you can reach your consumers wherever they are.
Absolutely. And there is a lot of activity in the retail media space, as you know. So a lot of
Oh yes,
innovation, a
oh,
lot of
yes,
change. So more to come. But the pace is also a lot faster these days, too.
oh yes, of course. And with AI and all that,
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more.
oh yeah, I know.
Um, so, what about some early career lessons? Are there any that you can remember that you think still shape how you lead your teams today?
Yes, I have to say to consider your agencies as partner instead of client supplier relationship. And
Mm,
you know what? I remember in my early days in the business, at some point I was not aware of the importance to have good partners around you to help you actually achieve the objective. And when you do have partners, and actually a partners relationship, they will always do more to have better results. And it's not for you, but it's really a win-win situation that you need to work on. So, and today I still do the same. That's really a lesson that I learned, and I'm trying to, you know, kind of say to my team, hey, it's so important. We're not client supplier, but we're really partners.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, sitting where I am on the agency
Yeah,
side,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love to hear it,
Of
because
course.
we like to see ourselves as an extension of our clients' teams, and really partner with them deeply, because ultimately our goal is to have you succeed, and your success is our success, right? It's a shared thing. So I love that you said that.
And it's funny that you're saying it, because when you are at the same table, or you have let's say a small team, a marketing team, okay, but if you consider your agencies, I will say with an S,
Mhm.
well, your team is kind of by 10, by 20 more people compares to the 3 or 4 people in your team. So that's really a key lesson to have in our mind.
Absolutely. I know the teams tend to be very lean, so it's a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
budget-friendly way to expand the team.
exactly.
So where do you see the biggest opportunity for brands and retail better understand each other, having worked on both sides?
Yeah. Since I built actually the supplier program and all, uh, and at that time, I don't think we had that. It's really to have the media value of all the activation. It's not well known by both sides, I would say, on the CPG brand and on the retail side as well. So for me, is so important to have a media agency that work on this to really show the value. So that way, well, CPG brands could have a better view of what they're getting for their money, and in terms of ROI and also, and I think it could help both sides. Okay. And I remember at Lassonde, with some retailers, it was not always the case having the media value. So it was hard to evaluate our ROI, so sometimes we were kind of, oof, that seems pretty expensive, but maybe the media value worth
Yes.
it, so and on their side, retailers are thinking on how much they can get from CPG brands to optimize their media investment and all. But if you can show the media value for both sides, I would say again, it's a win-win situation.
I would agree. I know this topic very well. It's
Yeah.
something that we discussed quite often when you were at Lassonde, but also with other brands as well. I think, there's a lot of pressure to get a good return on investment, on the brand side for sure. And so when you don't have transparency in the reporting, it makes it very difficult to advocate for more funds internally. So,
Yeah, exactly. And it's really hard, to really have a good case and to be able to to say to your board, hey, no, we're getting there because we're getting, let's say, for a $2,000, 2000, yeah, 200, I'm sorry. I always
200,000.
have the problem with the numbers. $200,000.
Yep.
If you have a media value of $500,000, well, the case is really easy to support and also and to get your ROI. You know that, okay, I'm in business, so, and of course it needs to really go with the objectives of what you do have in terms of sales, but in terms of, okay, who I'm in terms of customers segment that I want to reach. So all of this can make a good things, but first I would say really the media value.
Absolutely. I mean, the good news is that the platforms are sharing a bit more data nowadays, and you can actually get some good metrics from the dashboard. So that's the good news. But you're right, there are definitely still quite a few blind spots.
Yeah, and sometimes, yes, in terms of digital, you do have in terms of impressions, in terms of engagement and all, but to have really, okay, but what's the worth in terms of media value, what it is really? So yes, it reach at some point some of your objective. Let's say you say, okay, I want to have in terms of impressions, let's say 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, it reached that objective, but in terms of data, in terms of media, was it worth it? We don't know.
Exactly. So still a lot of unknowns. Hopefully that sharing of data gets a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but at least since, when I was talking earlier about the offline business, that you cannot have almost any data, at least with digital, it's so much fun to have dashboard with data and that things that you can, okay, that's working. Or with that kind of content, we're not reaching out the enough people, or so in terms of impressions or engagement. So
absolutely, that's the great part about digital. You can take a look at the available data and adjust, right?
Exactly.
So I do understand the need to be able to lean on data in order to get the funding that you need for those initiatives. So for sure. So I just want to switch gears a little bit and dig into e-commerce specifically, my favorite topic. We know that e-com capabilities are our basic expectation at this point. They're not an add-on. From your perspective, though, what fundamentals do you think still get missed? And feel free to jump in on either the brand or the retailer side.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if you're gonna like my answer, Trisha.
Okay.
No, first, I think both brands and retailers had too big expectations. Why? It's depending on the industry you are. Okay. Consumers want, by example, touch the product. Okay. They want to, yes, they do their search online, but when let's say I will have an example for you. In the home improvement industry, okay, there is some products like flooring, by example. You want to see it in person, you want to feel it, to touch it. The color, is it the right one in my area and in my room? So, but maybe you will order it online to make sure that you have enough, because let's say for flooring, sometimes it's like 15 boxes or even 20, or depending of the square feet of your room. But so you will buy it online to make sure that they do have the quantity, but you will go at the store to see it. So that's the reason why I was saying, I think in some industry, you cannot have that much sales online compared to others, say like electronics, all that. So that's an easy fit. But for some other industry like home improvement, it's really hard. And what the teams, I think, and for that part, you will be happy, Trisha, that I'm saying. It's that to do, the teams need to do better in their product, their description, okay, and with the right features, with the good keywords and all that, to make sure that the search will be optimized, of course. And I still see a lot of on different websites, the products, the description is so small without the feature that you are as a consumer looking for. Yep. And as you know, you must know that, of course, in terms of search, well, those products are never come out at first in terms of search. So it's really like the SEO. It's really so important. So and at Lassonde, remember we I know that we did some work with you on that to make sure that our on different platforms that we were with the retailers, that our description were better and in terms of search option and all that with the right keywords that people were looking for.
Absolutely. You touched on a lot of things there, which is great. I mean, I think e-commerce, yes, I think it's definitely evolving. We're going to have to drop the E because it's really just commerce, right? And it's meeting consumers wherever they are, whether they're on social media, they're online or in store. But we just have to make sure that we're doing the right things to address their needs wherever they're finding us, right? It's so funny because I was literally in a store last night looking at an espresso machine, and there were a number of them side by side, and I was trying to evaluate, looking at the packaging, looking at the features, whatever's on the packaging.
But you did not search on more?
I didn't. I just happened to be at a department store and I was walking around. But then these espresso machines caught my eye. So I was checking them out and then comparing prices. And then I'm like, geez, I wonder what the reviews look like on this. Right? So, I mean, and, I'm not unique there. I think shoppers are doing both. They're shopping in store and they're searching online. And if I think about our journey like 20 years ago, so much of what we did as an agency was trying to replicate the experience in store. But now when you're in store, you find yourself looking for more information that's online, right? So I think it's really just making sure that the information that we provide to consumers are complementary and meet them wherever they are, whether in store or online, right?
Yeah, totally.
I haven't bought the espresso machine yet. I'm still doing some research, so stay tuned on that. All right, so let's talk about retail media in a little bit more depth.
So finally, you're happy with my answers?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
They're all good. So retail media has taken off in Canada. There are so many new platforms in just the last few years. How do you think brands should think about measuring retail media when so much of the shopping journey now starts in search?
Actually, what I do believe, first, I do believe in retail media. Okay, whatever, if I'm on the CPG brands or on the retail side. Okay, so first, but actually, you really need to have a global view. Okay, yes, a lot of the performance or KPI you can get is online, of course, with the search, the display, even social media, the content on social media and all. But it's so important to have good activation at the store level, because I think even as a consumer, I do my research online. I know that you did not do that for your espresso machine. But if when I go to the store, I have, let's say, a good impact display or good content, or I don't know, my decision to buy this product maybe will change. Even if I did my research online. So that's, for me, really important to do so, to have really a global view, or online, of course, activation and all, and at the store level. And to measure, yes, in terms of impression, engagement and all, but I think retailers, and I didn't say that earlier when you asked me about how could retailers and CPG brands could have a better connection and all, but I think the retailers could give data on sales, or a better way, or with more the details that would help as well the CPG brands. So because retail media, like I was saying before, in terms of media value, of course, but when you can get more, a dashboard with more info or data, it's priceless.
Absolutely. So the next time you're on the retailer side, you'll be advocating for sharing more data.
Yeah. Let me think about it. No, but for real, we need to. And I remember when I was at Rona at that time, we had Hermes, and we were sharing some data with Hermes because it was, of course, but yes, it cost a lot, but to be on Hermes, but all the data that you can get, and for the brands, you can imagine it's really, really important, and there is a really good insights that you can get from there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the more I think about it too, I know that a big challenge today is not being able to understand how your digital activities have influenced your sales, whether they happen online or in store, because as you said, shoppers are actually transacting in store, maybe online, or the opposite. They're transacting online even though they've gone in and looked at the product.
Totally.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, maybe we'll just start looking at things truly as just commerce, knowing that they're both contributing, right?
Exactly.
All right, so let's talk about this topic that comes up with basically every conversation these days, right? AI. So AI and automation are changing how teams work and how shoppers make decisions. What capabilities do marketing teams need to build to stay competitive over the next few years, you think?
Well, first, I say it's really important to stay connected with technologies because, like you were saying just before, it's evolved so fast. So you need to be really connected and with your agency and different partners and all. And as well, you need really to stay transparent when you use AI because people and I think you must have examples of some customers or event or that use AI and didn't say that they were using AI. So because people really, they want to know where the creative came from. Okay, so when they see, I'm not sure if it's because there is so much trick and all on different platforms and also that was and the other thing I would say, because that's the first part of my answer, to see how you can optimize really your work with AI. Because I see a lot of teams that are using AI, okay, but they're not really optimize their work, and they will, and to stay competitive, you need to optimize at least. So because if doing a prompt and you need to redo and finally at the end it taking almost the same time, you're not optimizing your work.
Absolutely. You're right. I think, different organizations are using AI in so many different facets, whether it's helping them with creativity or even just trying to improve efficiency in terms of operations and so forth. But when it comes to product listings, online even, we've got to make sure that our content is ready for these engines, these answer engines, these generative engines.
Yeah.
And now the agents that are going to be making purchases on behalf of shoppers as well. So you're right. It's really important for brands and retailers to make sure that they're set up to properly enable these transactions to take place for sure. So, really clean and structured data is incredibly important from the brand side. And the good news is that that's something that we've always been doing for the brands that we work with, is just really optimizing their listings as far as, highlighting features and benefits and the product attributes and things of that nature. So it's going to take some brands a lot of effort to get ready for what's coming next as far as AI is concerned.
Yeah, and every 3 months, I would say, or even less than that, it's evolving. It's so crazy. So we really need. And if I compare last year, let's say I
Mhm.
was asking, doing a prompt in Copilot or ChatGPT or whatever,
Mhm.
and today the result is so amazing compared to what it was. And I said a year ago, but it could be 3 months or 6 months, even though. So
Yeah, it's phenomenal how quick things are evolving. So yes, you're absolutely right. We've got to stay on top of it for sure.
yeah, yeah. Stay connected to
Yes,
technologies. Yeah.
yes. So let's stay with that theme in terms of looking ahead. Uh, as leaders look ahead to 2026,
Hmm.
where do you think they should focus their energy, and what's something they can stop worrying about, maybe?
Good question, Tricia. Uh, I would say first, they should always focus, on the consumer, because you always have to have the consumer into your mind when you do things in terms of strategy, activation, and all. Okay, and what they need actually. Second, the data is the key. Leader needs to establish KPI and measure. And third, and not the least, as a retailer or CPG, it is so important to have a clear vision and what your brand stands for.
Right.
Because for if you can really establish that, well, after that, all your activation or your strategy will keep, the funnel and the same path, and consumers will follow you as well.
Absolutely.
Mhm. And in terms of, did you have something to ask?
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. And stop worrying about, I would say, when you do have good partners, to better work well with them and not pass too much time on things that your partners can easily do.
Mhm.
And sometimes your teams or yourself, you don't have, actually your partner is then even your team, and also you're taking so much time, but at the end the result is not as optimized, or and
Mhm.
by example, I was talking earlier of the good description, product description. Well, an agency can do that with you, with the right keywords, with the good feature and all, and in a smaller time that it would take you and your team to do so. So
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, thank you for the commercial there. The
it, I really think it should be done that way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just more efficient. And you're right. It's specialization, right? It allows you to
Yeah,
add some expertise to your team without the added headcount. And you're able to get things done a lot more efficiently for sure. But I do love how you called out, those core principles in terms of what to continue to focus on going into the new year. It won't get old by focusing on the consumer.
exactly. That's the key, really, to have always that into your mind. And as marketers, that's what we need to do.
Absolutely. So we're almost at the end here, Marlene.
Oh,
We,
are we?
yeah, it went by pretty quick. I told you it would be fast. So we did get a question from the audience here. Let me read this. E-commerce teams often sit separately from traditional marketing teams. From your experience, what are the most common challenges you see from this organizational structure, and how can companies restructure and rethink workflows to work more collaboratively?
Really good question. Actually, the digital team with the traditional needs to sit together, because as I was saying, at your second or third question,
Hmm.
you need to have a 360 approach, so online and offline. So a, a structure that the digital team is besides and not part of the marketing team, I don't see how it could work. And actually, it's the same because I know there is a lot of organization whose sponsorships is really a different department, okay?
Mhm.
But when you consider sponsorship as part of your 360, you need to work all together to really work on this and to achieve the objective. And in terms of brand value and what your stands for, well, digital and offline or traditional
Mhm.
need to be sit together as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so many aspects of what the different teams do are intertwined. So it only makes sense that we actually create workflows that make it easier for them to collaborate, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And the question was rethink or the workflow to work more collaboratively. Well, I think the best structure is really to be all together in the same team.
awesome. Okay. I'm before I get to our closing question, I have more of a personal question that I wanted to to follow up on. I know you're on the board of the Quebec Hockey Hall of Fame. Talk to me about
It's
that.
not Hockey Hall of Fame. It's
The
Panthéon des
sports,
Sports, the sports.
my apologies, the Sports Hall of Fame. Tell me
Okay.
how that happened.
Actually, I don't know if you know, but I'm really a sports fan. So the Panthéon des Sports, actually, they reach out to me saying, "Hey, Marlène, I know that you are pretty involved in some of different organization and all. Would you be part of the Panthéon Hall of Fame?" And at first, I was on the board of the Musée du Panthéon des Sports museum because in Quebec we don't have any musée, and with a lot of big athletes and with several different records and all that. So, and in Ontario, in Alberta, and in BC, they do have some Panthéon or musée in a certain way. So that's how it happens. And for real, it's kind of okay. How can I help to build that and to make sure that athletes do have the full visibility of all the things that they're reaching out and the goal that they, and it's not always to win a medal, you know, it's all the efforts behind and all that. So that's what we're working on as a board member.
That's awesome. I noticed you have your hands in so many different things. So I just thought that was fantastic. I think you told me you played, was it lacrosse?
Lacrosse.
Whoops. What was your sport?
My sports, actually, there is the soccer, football,
Okay.
soccer. Actually, we can say soccer, right? Tennis, pickleball, volleyball,
Okay.
deck hockey in the past.
Awesome. Good stuff. I learned lots today. All right. So, last question for you today, Marlène, going back to your career. You've built a career across both brand and retail, and you've grown into senior leadership roles. What advice would you give to marketers who want to grow their careers in a similar direction?
I would say engage your team by being transparent. Okay. Giving clear priorities so this way your team will be mobilized, and if your team is mobilized and engaged and all, you will have success and even fun.
Absolutely.
Actually, that's always my way to do so all of my career. And I think all my team were always engaged. Well, I'm saying that, but kind of, woo, okay, I'm a big star, but it's not that. But I always being transparent and all that, and in terms of collaboration, in terms of respect as well. So yeah, so for me, it's the basic that if you build on that, it will go well.
I think that's great advice. And I've seen your approach in action, and it does work. You're absolutely right.
Thank you, Tricia.
So Marlene, thank you so much for your time. This was great. Thanks for sharing your perspective and your experience. And I'm really glad that we finally got to do this.
Yes.
If folks want to get a hold of you, get in touch with you, learn a little bit more, where can they find you?
It's really on LinkedIn. I'm kind of a nano influencer, I like to say. So reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I will for sure respond.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Marlene. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. Really appreciate you spending some time with us. For more information about GeekSpeak, please check us out at geekspeakcommerce.com. Check our socials for our next episode. Thanks again, Marlene. Take care.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.